Hello and welcome to the Daily Bible Podcast. My name is William Hemsworth. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. Welcome. We're continuing through Matthew chapter 10, and today we're going to look at verses 35 and 36. And so just the prelude, yesterday we covered verse 34, where Jesus says that he did not come to bring peace, but the sword. And these two verses today go hand in hand with yesterday's verse. So let's get to it. So Matthew chapter 10, verses 35 and 36 say, "For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and one's foes will be members of one's own household." Very, very challenging words of Christ today. This doesn't mean that we're called to be hostile to those around us. Jesus is using a play on words here. He's calling us to decision. Just like in yesterday's verse where Jesus says they didn't come to bring peace but a sword. He's not talking about a literal sword here, but he's talking about a decision. Believing, and it's time to put up or shut up, basically. He's telling the disciples, you're saying that you're following me. It's time to prove it. It's time to prove it. It's time to go out. As you recall in verse 16, he's sending them out to the Israelites to evangelize to their own kin, their own people. Jesus is telling them, some will not like you. Some will hate you. Some will even try to kill you. I mean, these are very challenging words. These are very, very challenging words of Christ today. So it's about a decision. Faith in Christ may cause those in our own family to disown us, not speak to us anymore, etc. So I'm going to ask you guys a question today. Are you truly committed? Are you still willing to follow Christ, even though those in your family, may come against you for it, or that your best friend since you were a child will come against you for it? What are you willing to do for Christ? It's time to put up or shut up. Now, I'm not trying to be harsh about it, but let's just be honest. It's time to put up or shut up. Christian commitment may separate friends and loved ones. Jesus was not encouraging disobedience to parents or conflict, but his presence demands a decision. Some will follow Christ and some won't. And because of that, conflict is inevitable. Now, Christ calls us to a higher mission than to find comfort in this life. So following Christ may not always be the most comfortable thing, but it's always the best thing. Just remember that. God bless you, and thank you for joining me on this edition of the Daily Bible Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, please email me at hopewithin18@gmail.com. As always, if you enjoy the show, I just ask that you simply share it. God bless you guys. Have a fantastic day.